Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something that's really vital for pretty much any business operating online these days. Geo-restrictions. You can think of them like digital borders, Yeah. Websites put them up, and they can seriously limit how you access region-specific info, competitor data, stuff like that.
Exactly. And for businesses looking to grow globally, or even just understand different markets, these digital fences, well, they can feel like a major hurdle.
Yeah.
It's not just knowing what they are, but maybe more importantly, how you can navigate them smartly. Ethically, too, to actually get ahead.
And that really is the crux of it, isn't it? So many companies hit a wall. They try to do basic things like see competitor prices in Germany or check how their own products look in Japan or even just make sure their ads are showing up where they paid for them to show up.
Yeah.
These location blocks, they're a real pain point for growth.
Absolutely. Which leads us to a potential way forward, something like the proxy. It's designed as a more, let's say, sophisticated way to get around these restrictions ethically. Gives you access to a huge global network of IP addresses. But the focus is really on doing it responsibly. Responsible data access.
All right, let's break that down. Starting from square one, what are geo-restrictions, technically speaking? How do these digital borders actually function?
Okay, so fundamentally, it boils down to your IP address.
Right, the string of number.
Exactly. Think of it like your device's digital passport when it's online. When you go to a website, your request carries this IP address. The website server looks at it, checks it against a geographical database, and figures out roughly where you are in the world.
So if my passport says I'm in a country where they've restricted access, boom, digital gate comes down.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And why do they do this? Well, lots of reasons. Content licensing is a big one, like streaming services. They might only have the rights to show a movie in the U.S., not in Europe.
Makes sense.
Then there's e-commerce, the price you see for something online. It can change dramatically depending on where you're browsing from. Shipping costs, local taxes, maybe even just different pricing strategies for different markets.
Okay.
Sometimes it's about tailoring services, or maybe a company's just launching a product slowly, one region at a time. And yeah, beyond just costs, those price differences can show how a company views a market's willingness to pay, or if they're trying to undercut local competition.
That makes a lot of sense for things like Netflix or online stores. But what about businesses just trying to get, a clear view of the market? Which sectors really feel the pinch from these restrictions?
Oh, quite a few. E-commerce is definitely high on the list. Retailers need to see competitor pricing, how their own products are listed in, say, France versus Italy.
Right.
Geo-blocks can completely hide those local site versions. Makes it super difficult to track competitors accurately, or even spot counterfeit goods that might only be popping up in certain areas.
Counterfeits, wow. Didn't even think of that angle. That's a big deal. What other areas are hit hard?
Ad tech is another one. Digital advertising. Companies spend a lot on ads. They need to verify those ads are actually showing to the right audience in the right place.
Yeah, proof of placement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Monitor campaign performance. Check for local compliance. If you can't see the ads like a local user sees them, how do you know your money's well spent? Or if there's ad fraud happening, it's not just wasted money. It might mean your targeting is off, or maybe competitors are even messing with your campaigns in those regions.
Right. You absolutely need that local perspective. What about SEO? Search engine optimization?
Oh, critical for SEO.
Yeah.
Search results, SRPs, they are not the same everywhere.
Yeah.
What pops up when you search running shoes in London is totally different from what someone in Sydney sees.
Really? Even for the same search term?
Absolutely. Language, local businesses, and search engine algorithms weighting local factors, it all changes. So SEO pros need to simulate searches from different locations. Otherwise, how do you optimize for Germany if you can only see U.S. results?
Got it.
It's like trying to understand local news by only reading international headlines. You miss all the important details.
So yeah, not just language, but completely different rankings. Big challenge for global SEO. What else?
Brand protection, definitely. Companies need to find unauthorized use of trademarks, logos, copyrighted stuff. If that's only visible in, say, Brazil, geo-blocks make it incredibly hard to spot and stop.
Like playing whack-a-mole blindfolded.
Pretty much. Market research, too.
Yeah.
Understanding local sentiment means looking at local forums, social media, news sites. Geo-blocking just shuts that door.
Yeah.
Even travel and tourism, comparing flight and hotel prices gets really tricky because prices change based on your point of sale, your location, and cybersecurity, too. Investigating threats specific to one region can be blocked.
Wow. Okay. So these digital borders, they really ripple outwards, causing issues across a lot of different business functions. How do websites actually do this, like the technical methods?
Well, the simplest is just IP address blocking. Your IP is on a list for a restricted region, access denied. Simple as that.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll just redirect you. You try to access the U.S. site from the U.K., it pushes you to the U.K. version automatically. Yeah. Or you just get a message saying, sorry, not available here.
Right. Seen those.
More advanced sites might use something called a web application firewall, or WAF-E. Think of it like a smart security guard for the website. It has rules to spot and block suspicious traffic, including traffic from specific locations or IPs behaving strangely.
And we touched on why licensing, local pricing, but are there other big business drivers behind setting up these restrictions?
Oh, absolutely. Legal and regulatory compliance is huge. Think online gambling, they have to block access from places where it's illegal.
Right, makes sense.
Data privacy laws, like GDPR in Europe or CCPA in California, also influence how companies control access based on location. And then there's pure marketing strategy. Geo-targeting. Businesses want to show specific ads, offers, or even completely different website content to users in specific areas to boost relevance and hopefully fails. So the website I see here could look and feel totally different, offer different things than what you'd see accessing it from London or Tokyo.
That really drives home how fragmented the web can feel. You mentioned those IP geolocation databases earlier. How good are they? Are they always accurate?
They're the engine behind this, mapping IPs to locations. Generally, they're pretty good at the country level. Accuracy can sometimes drop off a bit when you try to pinpoint a specific city or region.
Okay.
And crucially, IP addresses get reassigned. People move. So these databases need constant updating to stay accurate. It's an ongoing thing.
Okay, so geo-restrictions are big challenges for global business. Now, what happens if you try to just, get around them without the right tools? What are the pitfalls? Sounds like it could cause more problems.
Oh, it absolutely can. Trying to bypass these things with, let's say, flimsy or unreliable methods, that often creates bigger headaches than the restrictions themselves. If your business relies on that geo-specific data, doing it wrong can disrupt everything.
Like what are the actual risks if you take the wrong approach?
Well, the most immediate risk is getting your IP address banned. Websites watch for weird activity, tons of requests from one IP, logins from all over the place quickly. If they spot that, they blacklist your IP. Access cutoff. Done. And those free or super cheap proxies, they often use shared IPs that tons of people are using, so they get flagged and banned really, really easily.
Ouch. Yeah, that would stop things dead. What else? What other frustrations pop up?
TEPI TCHAs. Those prove your human tests.
Yeah. The worst.
They appear when a site suspects bot activity, which often happens with unreliable proxies. Trying to automate data gathering and having to solve those manually every few minutes, it just kills productivity. There are tools to solve them, but they cost money, aren't perfect. Adds complexity.
Sounds incredibly tedious. What about the tools themselves? Are all proxies basically the same?
Definitely not. Relying on free or really cheap proxies is honestly a huge gamble. They're often slow, connections drop all the time, unstable.
Right.
Imagine trying to track live price changes when your connection keeps failing. The data you do get might be totally outdated. Useless, basically. Plus, security on those free ones, often non-existent. Your data could be intercepted.
Whoa, okay. That sounds really risky, especially the security part. Are there, ethical or legal things to worry about, too?
For sure. Just because you can technically get around a block doesn't mean you have the right to scrape all their data.
Good point.
Most websites have terms of service saying, don't do that. Violate them, you could face legal action. And if you accidentally grab personal data without consent, you could be looking at massive fines under GDPR or CCPA. Reputational damage, too, if you're using proxies sourced unethically, like from botnets.
So even if you manage to get some data with bad tools, it might not even be accurate or trustworthy.
Exactly. Data quality tanks. If the proxy isn't really showing you the right location or it's feeding you old cached info, any decisions you make based on that are going to be flawed. Bad pricing strategies, missed opportunities, costly mistakes.
This is painting a pretty grim picture for trying to do this on the cheap or without the right know-how. And the security risks you mentioned sound major.
They really are. Free proxies, especially, can be dangerous. Some are literally set up by criminals to steal data passing through them. Logins, confidential info. It's like leaving your company's digital door wide open.
And I guess these basic unreliable proxies probably lack the features a business actually needs for serious work, right?
Precisely. They usually don't have automatic IP rotation, which you need to avoid getting detected. They might not support secure protocols like SOCKS5, which you need for some tasks. They can struggle with modern websites loaded with JavaScript, so you get incomplete data. And forget about targeting a specific city or ISP. They usually don't offer that level of control.
Yeah.
Plus, just the sheer hassle of managing them, constantly checking if they work, finding replacements for banned IPs, it eats up so much time and resources.
Okay, message received loud and clear. Cutting corners here is a bad idea. It'll likely cost you way more in the end.
So let's pivot to the solution you brought up, Dakota proxy. How does it offer a better way, an ethical and, actually effective way? Right. Dakota represents a much more sophisticated and, like we said, ethical approach. Their whole model is built around providing high-quality, ethically sourced proxy servers, plus the advanced features businesses need for reliable, responsible, global data access.
Okay, ethically sourced. You've mentioned that a few times. What does that actually mean here? How do they do it?
Great question. It's key. Dakota has this massive network, over 125 million IP addresses. But the crucial part is how they get them. They focus on getting explicit consent from real internet users to include their IP in the network.
Consent. How?
Usually it's in exchange for something, like getting an ad-free version of an app or some other benefit. It's transparent. This is totally different from shady methods like using botnets or hacked devices. For businesses using Dakota, it means peace of mind. You're not tied up in anything illegal. And because the traffic comes from real users who opted in, it looks much more natural to websites, drastically cutting the risk of getting blocked or banned.
That's a huge difference, yeah, from a trust perspective. What about targeting specific places? If I need to see exactly what users in, say, Miami see, can Dakota do that?
Yes, that's another major strength. Precise location targeting. You can pick IPs from over 195 locations globally, not just countries, but state level in the U.S., all 50 states, and even down to the city level in many, many places.
Wow. City level.
Yeah. So that e-commerce example.
Yeah.
If you need to check competitor prices specifically in downtown LA, you can grab an IP that looks exactly like it's coming from there. That level of precision means the data is super relevant and accurate for your specific needs.
That's incredibly specific. Really powerful. What other sort of advanced features help with efficiency and staying under the radar?
They've got several key things. Automatic IP rotation is huge. You could set it to switch your IP with every single request, making you really hard to track. Or you can use sticky IPs if you need the same address for a longer period, like managing an account.
Okay. Flexible?
They also support SOCKS5 proxies alongside the standard HTTPH TTPS. SOCKS5 is more versatile, often better for things beyond just web browsing, and adds another layer of security. It can sometimes bypass trickier blocks too. Think of it like a more robust, secure tunnel for your traffic.
So it's not just about getting access, but doing it securely and reliably. What about performance? Slow proxies are a killer.
Dakota really shines here. Their average speed is less than 0.3 seconds per connection, and they guarantee 99.99% uptime.
Wow.
That reliability is absolutely critical for serious data gathering. They also boast a success rate around 99.94%, meaning your requests actually go through and get the data you need, instead of hitting errors or blocks. That's a world away from the free proxy nightmare we discussed.
Those numbers sound fantastic. You mentioned different types of proxies Dakota offers. Can you quickly run through those? What's best for what?
Sure. They have residential proxies over 115 million. These are IPs from real home internet connections.
Like browsing from someone's house?
Exactly. Websites trust these highly because the traffic looks totally legit. Great for blending in. Then there are static residential proxies, or ISP proxies. These mix the authenticity of residential IPs with the speed and stability you usually get from data centers. Great if you need a consistent residential IP for something like account management.
Okay, best of both worlds sometimes.
Then mobile proxies over 10 million. These come from real mobile devices on 3G, 4G, 5G networks. Super trusted, especially for checking mobile site versions or mobile ads. Think browsing from a real phone. They cover over 700 carriers, too.
Crucial for mobile-first strategies.
Definitely. They also offer data center proxies over 500,000. These are from servers and data centers. Very fast, cost-effective for tasks where the target website isn't super sensitive about detection. But yeah, sometimes easier to spot.
Right.
And finally, they have a site unblocker. This is like their heavy-duty solution for the really tough websites, the ones that are experts at blocking. It often includes smart ways to handle TCHAs and IP bans automatically.
Sounds like a really comprehensive range, covering pretty much any need. And that ethical sourcing point keeps coming up, seems fundamental.
It really is. It's a core value for them and a major plus for users. That consent-based model is just fundamentally different and better than relying on sketchy sources. Choosing an ethical provider like Decodo isn't just about compliance. It reflects well on your own business's standards.
Right.
Corporate social responsibility.
Absolutely. Beyond the proxies themselves, what else does Decodo offer? Any tools or support?
Yeah, they provide a whole ecosystem. There's an X browser for managing multiple accounts safely. They have browser extensions for Chrome and Firefox for easy integration. A proxy checker tool.
Brandy.
Plus, really good documentation, quick start guides, a public API so you can integrate it into your own software, and critically, 24/7 tech support if you run into issues.
So they don't just give you the keys, they help you drive the car too. Is it easy to manage all this? The interface.
Yeah, they have a very user-friendly dashboard. You can manage your subscriptions, generate the connection details, track your usage, even set up team access if multiple people need it.
Okay.
And importantly, they offer a 14-day money-back guarantee, so you can actually try it out without financial risk. Their system is built to scale, handle small users up to huge enterprise needs, flexible pricing to pay per IP or pay per gigabyte of data used, and that global coverage we talked about, 195 plus countries, tons of cities, gives you that genuine worldwide view.
It really does sound like they've thought through the pain points and built a solid ethical platform to address them.
I think so. By combining that huge ethical IP pool with the precise targeting, the advanced features, and that focus on performance and reliability, they really do give businesses the power to get the global data they need, safely and responsibly.
So wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems to be those digital borders, geo-restrictions, they don't have to be roadblocks anymore. Maybe they're even opportunity with the right tools.
Exactly. They don't have to hold your business back. And as we've discussed, Decodo Proxy provides that ethical, effective way through, that huge, clean network, the pinpoint targeting, the strong features. It lets businesses access that global view responsibly.
So if you're listening and you felt that frustration, the content not available message, or just knowing you're missing crucial market data, well, now you know there's a legitimate, powerful way forward. We'd really encourage you to check out what Decodo offers for getting past these digital walls and tapping into that valuable global data ethically, effectively.
That's right. Those insights are definitely within reach now.
You can give Decodo Proxy a try yourself. We've put a direct link right there in the description or the bio for this deep dive. Definitely worth exploring their trial, that 14-day money-back option, or looking at their plans to see what fits your needs.
Yeah, absolutely. By using the right tools, like Decodo, businesses really can unlock those critical insights, fine-tune their global strategies, and just compete much more effectively worldwide. It's about turning what felt like a limitation into a real advantage through smarter, better informed decisions.